All right, I'm making rice pudding. Okay, the stove is on 2, and I have made what is this called? A cup of rice. Okay, 1 cup of rice to the water. We need to think of an invention, people, to keep the steam off of the thing, off of the screen. Okay, so 1 cup of cooked rice. Okay, I don't let it absorb the water. I take it off because we're going to add this. This is 2 cups of milk with brown sugar to taste. Now, I don't know if you got white sugar, brown sugar, honey, whatever floats your boat. I don't know why I added the sugar in with the milk. So, at least you got a cup of, you added a cup of uncooked rice, so that makes 2 cups of rice when it's cooked. So I'm going to say that you need at least 4 tablespoons of brown sugar or whatever you're using to sweeten it. Like I said, you can do one of these. That seems perfect to me. And we're gonna, this is the stove is on 2. Now, some people make rice pudding. They cook it in the milk. They don't cook it before they add the milk. Now, I like raisins, so I have put my raisins in here with some hot kettle water, and I'm going to rinse them in a minute, okay? Then we have our cinnamon. You could add a little bit of pumpkin spice. You could add nutmeg. A lot of people like star anise. Now in here I have 1 whole egg, okay, which we've mixed in really good with about a 1/2 cup of milk, okay, because we're going to temper that. The last time I made a pudding, I didn't temper my egg. I got lost in the mix. So what we're going to do, we're just going to wait and add right about now into our egg and our 1/2 cup of milk. We're going to add, doesn't matter if there's a little bit of rice in there, that's okay. We're going to add about 3 scoops of this, okay? And this keeps your egg, and we're going to mix it real quick, keeps your egg from cooking. So if I just poured this egg and milk into this mixture, it'd cook the egg into little bits, and that's why you get those chunky little bits in the pudding. So we're going to stir this up. Don't ask what I'm using for a stir, guys. Okay, now this should be coming to a slow boil. To turn it on 3. Milk is very tricky because some people use a double broiler because milk will burn on the bottom of the pan. Now this is a very heavy bottom saucepan. You don't need to have 400 dishes and pans and pots in your kitchen, but have yourself a heavy saucepan. So if you're making mac and cheese or, chocolate sauces or cheese sauces, it's less likely to burn at the bottom. And it distributes the heat more evenly. Okay, so I'm going to say this is good for now. So we're going to, ideally I'd have 2 hands, and I'd add a little bit of the egg and milk mixture and stir. And then a little bit of the egg mixture. I can hear it crack-a-lacking on the bottom, so I'm going to turn it down in 1 second. And then we're going to just add all that. That's fine. We're going to turn it down to 2 because I hear a popping and a crackling, and we don't want to hear that. In my grocery store, the tubs of, I think it's Cozy Shack, rice pudding is about $7 now. It's $6 something, I know that. It used to be reasonable, $3 or $4, it's a good snack, good treat. But now it's going up to $6, $7. So I've used 2 cups of milk in this. Like I said, 1 cup of rice ends up making 2 cups of rice. The raisins I got at the dollar store for $1, and I only used 1/4 of the package. And then 1 egg, it's about 1/4. So, you know, this is only about, let's see, $3 at best. $3. I'm not adding butter, but you could add a tablespoon or 2 of butter, however rich you want it. Now we're going to cook this down for about 15 minutes on 2. Stirring, and like it's very watery now, as you can see, okay? But it will thicken up, and especially when it's done cooking and I turn that off, the heat off, it will be ready. I'm just going to pour that water off in there. Okay. And we're going to add our raisins in here now. Some people like to wash their raisins. I usually do. But in this case, I just soak them. We're going to cook them, and then that way they plump up a little bit. It rehydrates them. Now, I already added my vanilla. Typically in bacon or cooking anything, obviously not in cakes or cupcakes or pies or anything like that. Typically, you're supposed to add the vanilla when it is off of the heat, okay? Because the heat will kill the vanilla flavor. I shouldn't have said the K word, but oh well. I will suffer the consequences. And but when it comes to the spice, whatever spice you're using, in this case I'm using Ceylon cinnamon because it is the best. You want to use it on the heat, so the heat brings out the oils and adds to the flavor. And, you know, people can add a little sprinkle on top when it's done. And I've also added a pinch of sea salt into the mix as well. 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt, or whatever salt you have on hand. Try to make better choices when it comes to your food, guys. Some people need iodized salt. But, you know, little tweaks in your diet make better choices. Like the Ceylon cinnamon is actually an anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, all those good things. Whereas the regular cinnamon is actually inflammatory to some people. So, and in my case, I do have psoriasis. Oh, sorry, I keep saying that. I have, rosacea, so regular cinnamon gives me a flare, a skin flare, but the Ceylon cinnamon is less inflammatory. So, yeah, so we have this big, I don't know what this is, if it's a quart, I'm going to assume it's a quart of sauce, but I don't know, this is making a hefty serving of rice pudding. Like if I was having a dinner, I would just make this much. Again, 1 cup of rice is going to make 2 cups of rice, so this is plenty enough. And you could put it in serving dishes after it's cooked for 10 minutes. I better turn that up to 2. After it's cooked for 10-15 minutes on low, you could put it in a nice little serving dish. You could serve it with a dollop of whipped cream, another sprinkle of cinnamon, whatever. Some people put cranberries in their rice pudding. Some people put prunes. And again, you could add as much sugar or less sugar as you want. You could try other milks. Coconut milk would be real yummy. I've seen people use cashew milk. You just make it your own way. All right? A recipe is supposed to be followed, but then you put your own tweak on it and make it your own. Make it to how your family likes it. Some families don't like cinnamon. Some people don't like raisins. Some people just like plain rice pudding with no fixings, nothing added into it. And this could be good for kids for their lunches or yourself. Put in a little container. But like I said, you're saving yourself quite a bit, and it's really low effort to make. Very low effort. So anyways, I'm gonna let this cook down. I'll make a short showing a dish of it at the end, but that's how I make it. And you just want to watch again that it's not really simmering. There should be a couple bubbles maybe coming to the surface, but keep it very low. If you smell burning, that's the milk and sugar burning on the bottom. That means you got it up way too high. And sometimes if you keep it low until you learn the sweet spot, you will know when it's cooked. You might have to cook it a little longer, a little lower, until you get to know your stove. 2 on my stove isn't 2 on your stove. It could be hotter, right, or cooler. So, and again, this will absorb the milk. And you know, I'm trying to go without butter right now. See how far that goes. But to add a real richness, a nice pat of butter would be real good. And if you got kids or older adults, you know, we need healthy fats for our brain. And we do need fats for our brain to function. So, I mean, don't rule out everything out of your diet, because it's actually helps transport the vitamins and minerals around your body. If you don't have fats, you're not able to absorb vitamins and minerals. So if you're making this for young kids, I would add a pat of butter, but it smells real good. It smells milky and creamy, and I can smell that warm cinnamon smell. Oh, apples would be good in here as well. A little bit of applesauce. Anyways, that's it, guys. Just trying to save a couple dollars. And I know what's in this, right? It's not made in a factory. Saving a couple dollars. And it's pretty good for you, you know? Like I said, you can add the sugar to taste. All right, y'all. Have a good day. Stay safe out there. We still got heat, so prayers for everybody out there. Enjoy your day. The weekend's coming up. Yum.